With this season being over for half the NBA teams, the focus for them has now shifted on the draft and free agency coming up this summer. We all know how both those events play a huge part into a team's chance to compete for future titles. So in today's video, we will take a look at who is an upcoming free agent and try to figure out what could happen with these players this summer. Before we start, this video will be separated in 3 parts since some players have different status regarding free agency this summer. So to start off, we will go with unrestricted free agents because those are the ones that are for sure hitting the market this summer. The first player is Russell Westbrook. After having 2 tough years with the Lakers, he had a good second part of this season with the Clippers. We saw him perform in the playoff, but once again, it did not necessarily lead to wins. He averaged 24, 7, and 7 in round 1 against the Suns, but despite all that, he was only in the plus column for 1 game. In my opinion, the biggest issue with his game is that he can completely shoot his team out of games. We saw him having a 3 for 19 and 3 for 18 shooting games in the same series. But on the bright side, we saw him bring an energy that we haven't seen by anyone else in the league, so teams might be interested in that. It will be interesting to see what sort of contracts he signed this summer, because if he asks for a lot of money, I don't expect contending teams to try and sign him as a 3rd star on their team for over $25 million a year. So teams with more salary cap and younger rosters might sign him for that money as a 1 or 2 year veteran presence in the locker room. But on the other end, if he asks for anywhere around 10 to 18 million, I could see contending teams with some sort of salary cap room sign him, especially for the energy he brings on the floor on both ends. The next player is probably one of the most interesting one in free agency, because when the Dallas Mavericks made the move to trade for Kyrie Irving, it was a big question mark as to whether or not he would resign with them. There's been a lot of rumors that he would finish in Los Angeles to team up once again with LeBron, but the Lakers have killed those rumors not long ago. He is still a very good player, even considered as one of the best point guard in the league. The issue is that he could ask for a lot of money, but teams might be hesitant to give him what he wants because he brings a lot of drama to the team, and he hasn't played a lot in the last couple of seasons for various reasons. So we never know what we are going to get from him. Now the final unrestricted player is Brook Lopez. After completely changing his game when he arrived in Milwaukee, Brook finished in 2nd in the Defensive Player of the Year race this season, while also being one of the best stretch 5 in the league. With the current deal he had of less than $14 million a year, it was one of the best deals in recent years. Due to the evolution of the game and how he shaped his playstyle to fit that, he will definitely be extremely coveted by teams this summer as one of the best 3-and-D center. But despite that, I wouldn't be surprised to see him take a team-friendly deal to stay in Milwaukee and try to compete for another title run. Now for the next list of players, those guys currently have a player options, so they could exercise their options, meaning they wouldn't truly hit free agency. The first player in this category is James Harden, who currently has a $35.6 million player option this summer to return with the Sixers. We've heard multiple rumors that he is interested in returning to Houston, and just recently they got eliminated, and the night of, or the day right after, there were even more rumors surrounding the fact that he was really interested in potentially returning to Houston, so that could definitely play a part on whether or not he opts in. Also, the fact is that he's definitely not the same player he once was when he was competing for MVPs, but he still led the league in assists this season. As a player, he hasn't always showed up for big playoffs games, and this season against the Celtics, we saw him put up 2 40-point games, one where the MVP of the league wasn't even there, so he helped the 76ers win game 1, but we also have seen him in game 7 completely put up a stanker of a game. It's definitely interesting to see what sort of team are interested in this summer. In my opinion, he could still get a big contract simply because of what he's shown this season and throughout the past couple of years. And before recording, I had written down that, in my opinion, he could resign with the Sixers if they made a finals appearance. Otherwise, I would definitely not be surprised to see him go to Houston. And we've seen them just got eliminated in the 2nd round. And the rumors of him returning to Houston have picked up yet again. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up over there. Now, the second player is also another important part to the Bucks' success. And this guy is Chris Middleton, who currently has a player option for over $40 million, which is not necessarily something he could get during free agency if he decides to opt out of his player option. This is mainly due because this season he had one of his worst seasons offensively, and he also missed a ton of games this year and some last couple of years, which could dramatically affect his value especially since he's getting older, so teams might not necessarily want to take that risk. Despite all that, he will still have the attention of multiple teams around the league as a great veteran that can produce on both ends of the floor at a very great level. But that being said, with the title he won in Milwaukee and his play regressing last season, it wouldn't be a surprise to see him opt out to sign a team-friendly deal just like Brook Lopez could do in order to run it back once again. And now the last player on a player option is probably the most interesting one in this list once again, and this player is Draymond Green. He could opt in for $27 million next year to stay in Golden State. But why this one is so interesting is because of all the rumors regarding him wanting to play with LeBron for the last couple of years. And now with how the Lakers won against them this year, the Warriors dynasty might have come to an end. Despite him saying on his podcast that he intends to stay or wants to work it out in order to still be a Warrior and that the dynasty isn't over. In my opinion, we saw them regress this season at a rate we have never seen before. So it will be interesting to see what happens to this team, but it's going to be a subject for probably another video. Once again, Draymond is a player whose game has regressed throughout the years. He posted some of his worst stats in his career, but he is still very impactful on the defensive end while also being a great leader that every team should want. If he was to opt out, he would definitely sign a contract that would give him less money, in my opinion. The issue with him opting in is that he would be a free agent at the end of next season. And with the Warriors giving a lot of money to both Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, they would be in a situation where Klay and Draymond are both free agents at the same time. So they would need to make up a lot of money for those guys. And now talking about Jordan Poole, we all remember what happened between those two early this year. And despite those two saying that they talked it out, we all saw the chemistry was affected. And after their playoff exit, we saw even more rumors saying that the team was dramatically affected by that situation early on, and that it bothered them throughout the year. Now, they definitely could try to trade Jordan Poole in order to keep their core four together, but with his performance in the playoffs, especially against the Lakers, and the salary he is making, I don't think a lot of teams will be interested in him as a player to trade for. The final category will only contain one player, as it's one of the rarest cases where we see a player with that sort of options end up on the free agency market while also having interest from other teams. And this situation is where a team has an option to pick up on a player. Most of the time when we see this situation, it's on rookie contracts, so most of the teams will pick it up on the interesting prospects, but might decline it on a rookie that hasn't shown anything yet. But in this case, it's different. And it's regarding Malik Beasley. The Lakers currently have a $15 million player option for next season. And by the way he was playing earlier this season, it seemed obvious that whichever team had him at the end of the season would pick up that option. And the same could have been said when he got traded to the Lakers and was starting almost every single game they played the rest of the regular season. But now that the playoffs have started, we have seen his role diminish dramatically. And he even got multiple DNPs so far this playoff run. And with the Lakers competing for a title run this season, despite him not playing that much when it mattered the most, it's going to be interesting to see what they want to do with him next season, because a ton of their players are also going to be hitting the market this summer. So they will need to manage their money accordingly. And for $15 million, it might be a tad bit too much for their liking. So after having one of the greatest playoffs in recent memories, it definitely feels like we are going to have an active summer that will cause multiple teams to change their rosters and maybe have new contenders being created. As always, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. Also leave in the comments where you think any of these guys will end up. And as always, have a great one.